So I'm joined now by Dr. Ben Carson, Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Dr. Carson, always good to have you with us. Looks like it's a little bit quieter so far, but this is not the witching hour that we have seen, that happens after 8 o'clock with the people who break these curfews. You say that it's the communities that are underserved in this country that get the most hurt by the rioting that we have been seeing going on.
That's correct. Their establishments are being destroyed, the places where they go to work, the places where they service themselves. And, the people who are creating the havoc and the violence, they say they do that because no one will listen if you're peaceful. Have they forgotten about the legacy of one of the greatest Americans of all time, Dr. Martin Luther King, who was an advocate for nonviolent protest, and through the success of the nonviolent protest brought about the greatest social change that has ever been seen? How can they forget about that so easily?
Yeah, it's a great point. And I think about Martin Luther King and religious leaders like Father Hesburgh at Notre Dame and others who joined arms and marched together. And I wonder where the call is for that, for religious leaders, for African-American leaders, for leaders of all races to come together and to march together in peace and to try to push back on some of this. Do you sense that that is something that we might see as a result of all of this? Where is that?
I would love to see that. And I would call on those leaders to have courage, because a lot of times people don't do what they know they should do because they're afraid of the pushback. And there is a lot of pushback when you try to do what's right sometimes. But we need to recognize that we, the American people, are not each other's enemies. And we should not succumb to those who are trying to make us believe that we are enemies, to divide and conquer. I have never seen a situation where violent activity of this nature accomplishes something good. It only accomplishes bad. It's ruining these neighborhoods. It's ruining the chances of a lot of people to climb the ladders of opportunity. Think about those people. Don't just think about your feelings. I understand the anger that some people feel after seeing this horrendous murder take place before our eyes. No one can deny that it happened. And there is reason to be angry about that. But the justice system, I can virtually guarantee you, is going to make sure that those officers are taken care of in terms of what they did. They created a crime against humanity, and they will be taken care of.
We're waiting for news on the others.
We do not need to take it into our own hands.
I'm curious what you think about President Trump's moves during all of this. Is there anything that you would like to see him do that he's not doing? Obviously, he's very much on the side of law and order. He doesn't want to see the violence that we've been seeing. There are a lot of peaceful protesters who've been walking those streets as well. We're looking at some of them out there this evening with signs who want to be heard. What would you like to see from the president on that side of the equation?
Well, I had a conversation with the president last night after the Lafayette Park episode. And, he feels very much like I do. He doesn't necessarily express himself the same way as I do, but, he's very disturbed by what happened to Mr. Floyd. And he's very disturbed that things are moving so slowly in terms of the justice system, but he's sure that it will be taken care of. But, I would like to see everybody just take a step back on both sides. Don't use every opportunity to criticize someone else and to try to make them into the demon and to get into respective corners and just throw hurl insults at each other. That's not helpful. We can do better than that. That's what I'd like to see from every corner.